Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. In yesterday's video, I showed you guys a couple of different trading options. Obviously for Bitcoin, I believe also for the stock market and for XRP, and things played out very well today. Having said that, in today's video, I also have some crypto news for you, and we have one indicator that is almost about to burst that could get us such crazy amounts of profits is gonna be insane. So if you're a crypto trader or crypto holder, make sure you watch this video and get to smashing that like button. Last video we hit about 300 likes. Today I really want to try to get 500. And also, if you're looking for a platform to trade on, you can always check the link down below. Bybit is the personal exchange that I use, as there's a couple $1,000s worth of bonuses that you can get on there. So go ahead and check it out with the link down below. Having said that, let's go over a couple of things that we talked about yesterday to kind of see how we respond to it now. The first pattern I showed you guys yesterday was this falling wedge. And what I basically said is at the moment that we get a confirmed breakout, we open up a long position with our first take profit here being roughly at around 20.4 thousand. I also expected that the moment we hit that, we move our stop loss back to entry, which would be roughly at around $19.6 thousand, because there's a good chance we're going to bounce back. And there would be two main scenarios we could go for, either to take our profits at our take profit 1, put our stop loss back in entry, and then open a position if we were to basically test a little bit lower, the trend line a little bit lower at, for example, 19.35, or to actually not put our stop loss at entry, but actually still leave it at a little bit of a loss, for example, right here at about 19.1 thousand, to be able to catch this bounce. Again, I did not change anything on the chart today. I'm just reflecting what we were talking about yesterday and kind of seeing how we can extrapolate and what we're going to do now. Right now, guys, I'm still extremely bullish since we got ourselves this breakout. And we actually got a nice little retest of the trend line here as well. I still personally think $20.4 thousand for Bitcoin is soon to come. And again, at that point, I think placing our stop loss at entry at this point would surely work. I personally have already gotten a juicy bit of profit out. Because I trade with a lot of money, I try to sometimes take my profit a little bit early. What I mean with that is, let's say, for example, we estimate we get about 4% out of this trade. I usually take profit at, for example, 3% already, or 2.5%, depending on how much money I'm working with. And then I'm talking about these smaller percentages. For example, a 10% profit already. But in this case here, I think we're just still going to pump. So yeah. Another pattern I showed you guys yesterday was the descending broadening wedge. And I also told you guys the exact same scenario. And right now, our first take profit has been hit. Let's check it out, guys. So from the trend line up to this part right here, it's roughly about 4% profit. And again, with the leverage that I personally take, which in this case was about 10x, that means we got 40% profit on this trade right now. In practice, it's a little bit lower than that. We got a similar pattern as to, of course, the falling wedge from before. But of course, you cannot open the position most of the time exactly at the trend line, but we basically look at the amount of profit from that point. Still, however, guys, looking at it from this perspective, taking this trade all the way towards 21.5 thousand is not that crazy. However, there's one more important thing that's like in the midst of this all. A lot of you guys were commenting yesterday, Dusty, you talk about a bullish and a bearish scenario. What in the world? You either are bullish or you're bearish. And I usually tend to disagree. I think nobody really knows exactly what the price is going to be in 6 days from now, 5 days from now. Nobody knows. It's about what happens and how will you react to it with the highest amount of probability. I've actually shown to you guys a couple of banks as well with our analysis, right? We're talking JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, and basically all of these banks, Bank of America, they all do the exact same thing. Analyst predicts 34,000, and then an analyst comes and says, no, I predict 17,000. Maybe that's because there's a couple hundred different analysts, but more importantly, the exact end doesn't really matter. I can predict any price at one point. There's a very high likelihood eventually it will happen. It's about what has to happen to get there, and at the end of the day, it's just a probability game. Because even though right now I'm extremely bullish, there's a couple scenarios where instead of actually continuing on with my long position, I might switch it and go for a quick short position to get profits along that road. One of the things I told you guys about yesterday, for example, and this is very important to understand, was the fact that we have a certain range for the Bitcoin price, right? We have the very important level of 21.7 thousand. Very important level of $20,000 exactly, and the big dip here at 17.7 thousand. What we're noticing is, okay, we've gone from 21.7 thousand to 20,000. From 20,000 to 17.7. We got ourselves a little rejection, but okay, we pushed through towards 21.7 thousand again. Okay, came right back to bounce off of 20,000 before pumping back to 21.7, bouncing off of 20,000 a little bit again before falling through. And so we retested yet again here at 20,000, came a little bit down, retested again at 20,000. Right now, it's like anybody's guess, right? From this chart alone, that's why we have multiple different charts to back our, I guess, trades up. But in this case here, It would not be too crazy if, again, it's just a retest of 20,000 to hit the bottom at 17.7 thousand before spiking yet again to 20,000, maybe potentially having a small retest before breaking through. It can basically look like this, right? Because we've had this a couple of times before. Breaks back down, comes back up, potentially a small little retest before breaking up, for example, something along these lines. And they also talked about this specific chart right here that I showed you guys, because once more, bearish scenarios do exist, even though I am extremely bullish on crypto. And most of the charts right now are showcasing that crazy pumps are about to happen. Remember guys, for XRP as well, I told you guys, if we reach the bottom right here, let's just open up a long position. I said that yesterday in my video. Well, the best thing you can do is just open a long position. Check out my video from yesterday. Just check. I only gave like 30 seconds of XRP talk. Look at exactly what I said. All right, we were at exactly this price right here, 31.2 cents or so. What I say, XRP will most likely come right back to the top right here. Could it have broken down? Sure. And what are we going to do then? Well, most likely the moment that we break down, we're going to look for a short position toward 26 cents. But as it currently stands, the highest probability is to go up because of Bitcoin's factors. And as I said before, because of the stock market, what we're expecting, again, a retest for the stock market at $39,000 to $4,000, somewhere along that ballpark. And again, that was yesterday. Look at how things are going right now. Things are looking pretty good. From the weekly perspective, again, and I got to make this clear, what I said for Bitcoin, and again, this can still flip around. Understand this. A lot of these trades are not here for the next 10 years, or no, I'm not taking a trade for so long. We're taking a trade most of the time for a couple of hours. Sometimes a couple of minutes, like for example, for XRP, it's happened a couple of times before. Sometimes a couple of days. But if we're talking about buying, for example, for just a hold stash, or even looking at this chart here, what do we extrapolate? Well, a bottom is very likely to be in at this point. Again, right now we are testing for Bitcoin the 2017-2018 all-time high levels. Back at that point, we are exactly here. I told you guys, the moment we break through, opening a short position instantly, right? The moment we get some confirmation below it, towards $16,000, I'm just going to turn bearish. But we have not done it just quite yet. As long as we have not done it, we're holding this support, we're holding the freaking line. Just quickly taking a Fibonacci here, for example, from the swing low all the way back here in 2020, March, right, the bottom, and the top from this bull cycle, you can see for yourself, just real quick, right, two very important levels. One is this 0.236 bottom at $19,000, which is exactly where we're bouncing from right now. Plus here you can see one of the major supports that we've had on multiple different occasions, the biggest one being in June of 2021, but also here even in May of 2022 and back here in January of 2021. We had some major price action at 28.5 thousand. At some point or another, you're going to have a relief rally. Even in the bearishest of bear markets, you get a lot of times where people are more faithful again, or, again, this is a fun phenomena, when people are most fearful is when things turn back around. And that's exactly what I want to showcase you guys with this indicator right here. As I said before, guys, the pi cycle bottom indicator here is juicy. Why? Well, it's only flagged or signaled twice in the past, and right now, oh boy, are we close to another signal. It's showcased itself here once somewhere in January of 2015 and once right here in December of 2018 as a bottom. And again, looking at it, whoa, it's called at the bottom pretty accurately. Once more, it does not flash often, but the two times that it has flashed has been extremely good. And again, it's every single time that the red line crosses the green line. And you can kind of see it's similar to some golden or death crosses basically, even though these are different numbers, but it's showing, it's almost starting to show. Even checking it out on the daily, you can see here how close we are getting to forming a bottom on this specific chart. Again, every single time it's done so prior, even on the daily, you can see it would have been a pretty juicy freaking spot to buy, right? Here's, for example, the dip. You can see December of 2018. Well, if you bought at that point, Bitcoin would be roughly at around $3,000. And that's the last time that this signal has indicated a big bottom. And right now, it's the only first time that we're getting this close. To not forget about this chart, let's extrapolate what I meant from this. So what we're seeing is that a similar setup like, I guess, let's call it May of 2021 is being set up right now. It's a continuation pattern. And so we extrapolate this as, well, if we continue on with some bullish price action in the midst, the RSI actually comes back into neutral. It goes from oversold to neutral, but still within the same pattern right here. Well, then just history repeating itself, it would not be too crazy to fear a breakout eventually. Again, the reason I drew this a little bit longer though is to showcase to you guys, well, it could surely take another couple of weeks. It doesn't necessarily have to be tomorrow for this to play out, but it's going to be something to watch for. I didn't really set up any trading scenarios just quite yet. So again, the general narrative, like I was screaming yesterday, is bullish. Most indicators are showing it, but I will always show you guys the bearish scenario too. For example, as I said before, I would not be screaming and yelling if Bitcoin ever went back to 12,000, for example. Would I be sad? Absolutely not. I am going to go to the, maybe, I'll go to a bank, get out get out a freaking loan, all right? Get all my money out, get me a loan as well. And I'm gonna start splashing. It's gonna be very, very unhealthy. Also very unethic, the butt kicking I'm about to do. I'm gonna beat some pockets up for sure. It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. But then again, right? There's a couple different scenarios as to where we could go down. In terms of the news, as I said before, banks are starting to hoard. We're seeing the fundamentals being built. And even, I guess, all these banks, I'm even showing it on TikTok. If you're not yet, by the way, make sure you check me out over on TikTok. I'm trying to make a couple of cool videos on here every single day. And here is a chart that shows the Bitcoin, or actually crypto adoption versus internet adoption. And it's very interesting to watch that just to see how early we still are on all this crypto stuff. However, there's a couple of bearish impulse on the short term. Again, basic narrative is bullish, bullish, bullish. Stock market being bullish is extra to that. And the only thing I'm watching for right now is this $20,000 Bitcoin rejection. Because you can still see, and again, you can still hear what scenario could play out if we get rejected again at $20,000. And if you're wondering why I put up two different trading scenarios here, what I very often do is I make one trade on Bitcoin inverse perpetuals and one just on the normal perpetuals, I guess. So one trade is basically in Bitcoin and one is in USDT. So you can have two separate trades open just for my own administration, but in theory, it doesn't matter, right? If you're opening up a long position for this specific trade right here, it's basically the same as opening it for this trade right here, but I just like to keep track of things differently, because the moment you take trading a little bit more seriously and you put every single trade that you in either an Excel sheet or your own program, or even for backtesting, you can have multiple trades going on at the exact same time, and you kind of don't want to lump them together because they are separate occasions, separate triggers, and you have different margins for them. Maybe all things are different, so you got to keep them separate. But you guys get what I mean, right? Having said that, Ethereum also bounced the way we predicted. Again, as we said before, the only moment we're going to go short on Ethereum right now is the moment that we break through, I guess, 1,072 yet again, and it actually showcases to us that we should open up some short. Right now, on the short term, again, for the last couple of weeks, Ethereum has showcased to be very, very bullish. It was ranging between the 2017 all-time high, which is right here, 2018, 17, 18 all-time high at the top here, and the weekly, basically the first lower high afterwards, which is this one right here. It was bouncing between the two for a couple of weeks. And again, the short-term structure here has not yet been broken, and we trade with the structure. But to come back on the news, right, in regards to big dumps or or $12,000 for Bitcoin, there's a couple scenarios. And one of the ones that's happening right now is these bank runs in crypto. It's very scary to watch, right? If the bank runs continue on, some exchange is going to be in a lot of trouble, and that's going to hurt a lot of people. Right now, today, I posted on Twitter that yet another exchange actually had liquidity issues because too many people are withdrawing. As I said in my previous video, withdraw from a lot of exchanges if you can, right? Because even though I shouldn't say it because it's kind of unethical, the more people that withdraw, the worse that the space becomes. I am honestly looking out for the best of y'all. If you think about it, it's like not smart to keep your money on there if I were you. Then again, because I'm not you, it's better if all you guys leave it on so that the exchanges probably won't go bust. But then again, if the exchange went bust because you take it out, it was a shitty thing anyway. Long story short, being real, take your money out of a lot of exchanges that are not on your top tier list. I personally think exchanges like Binance and Bybit are in no trouble whatsoever. They're too extremely big. And even if you try to take all your money out, it's so properly backed with so many billions upon billions of dollars, it's going to be hard for them to actually be in a liquidity problem or have issues in that sense. I'm talking more so about these exchanges that you haven't really heard of or that are really local and potentially where the founders are also not that well known. Yeah, I'd be more so fearful of those. But apparently here this article says Celsius sends $72 million worth of ETH to dump wallet. Here's what to expect. Well, there's one thing that's really become apparent to me. A lot of you guys don't know what big selling pressure could come from. We saw Three Arrows Capital go bankrupt, right? And they filed for bankruptcy. I told you guys, they're big holders in ETH, Solana, Ava. I don't know, remember exactly what coins they're big in, but a lot of them, Avalanche, I think. If they go file for bankruptcy, these tokens will have to be sold for US dollars or whatever the frick, and they're going to have to give that to the creditors that basically deserve it the most. But the moment that happens, it could be $1 billion, I'm not sure how much money they still have left, worth of selling pressure in a very short amount of time, depending on whether or not it's done via an auction or whatnot. But if it has to be sold to the market, which would be bad and kind of shitty, it could be done in a really rapid pace, which could be a really big dumpy pressure for a little bit. And Celsius as well, if they're in trouble. Again, I'm not so sure what this transfer is for. We cannot really know. DeFiS has been sharing all this information. Celsius just moved 72 mil to the wallet they usually send tokens to exchange before dumping. They withdrew 30k Ether from Ava, 37,000 Ether from Compound. First time in 3 weeks that they've reduced collateral in these positions. A little bit earlier, I talked to you guys about what they are... liquidation price is now at about $12,200. Maybe they know something that we don't in terms of, the crypto market turning back around. Maybe they're also watching the indicators that we are watching, and so they're becoming more confident and they're putting more money into it. or something like that. Maybe they've seen the $20,000 Bitcoin rejection before we did, and so right now they're taking their profits and riding the ETH and Bitcoin wave, whatever, back down even a little bit further to buy further dips. Who knows, right? Who knows? Again, guys, one of our first take profits has been hit on this specific trade. On our second trade, I personally have taken a little bit of profit, but just a slight margin for my entire position. I'm actually having my stop loss at entry right now, and that is actually, I'm biased. This is really stupid. I'm biased because of this $20,000 rejection that I was kind of fearing, that I biased myself to take some profit prematurely, because again, I should not let them interfere with each other. I should just let it slide all the way through, and my plan was to only get my stop loss to entry the moment that we hit our first take profit, but it did so the moment that we hit my first theoretical take profit at 20,000, which in terms of price right now has seemed okay, but that doesn't mean that the bullish momentum is gone just quite yet, as we fought a battle at $20,000 so ridiculously many times. There's a good chance within a couple of hours you're just gonna right through all the way towards 21.7 thousand in the next couple of days, because again, that's the range that we've been trading in. And the moment that we break out of this range, again above 21.7 thousand or below 17.7 thousand or so, you can also kind of see it from the other charts that I've just showcased you guys, is when we should start thinking about some bigger moves or some bigger swing trades. But right now, I'm really more so on the bullish side because of this indicator that's about to flash, and I'm pretty excited for it. Again, guys, I'm extremely bullish on crypto, but let me remind you guys, if you've not done it yet, make sure you check out the link down below for Bybit, the exchange I personally use, and make sure you press that like button if you're enjoying these videos. I greatly appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I just noticed that all this time, right, I've had a link here for my a referral link for Ledger. Apparently, it's never worked. I guess you can see I'm a really good marketer now, huh? But that was it for today's video. Hopefully, you guys all enjoyed it, and see you later.